Hey guys, I'm enjoying this cool rainy day in Texas at home. I'm actually getting ready to go to a massage and a hair appointment, but I just wanted to make a quick little video for you guys. We had a really good time in my Instagram live last night, so I got some video requests and ideas, and so this one is going to be some tips for women that are wanting to date out, because I know that's a huge topic, and I just wanted to like add my little 2 cents on that. Just, as somebody that's dated out quite a bit. My first serious relationship was a white guy. My first couple, actually. So here's some tips. First tip, you definitely want to look the part. And what I mean by that is, I don't know, for the people that have been following me on Twitter since this summer, know what I'm talking about. You want to just look well put together. A lot of us, we're guilty of just kind of like throwing on some sweatpants and some flip-flops and running out and running errands and stuff like that. But if you're trying to date out, especially date out and up, you really need to look the part. You really need to put effort into your looks, because when you're dealing with men that can get anyone and they have lots of options, why would they pick a woman that's, thrown together and just runs around looking however and doesn't really doesn't care about how she looks? So you really just need to make sure to keep up your looks, maintain your looks, which is, a big thing that I talk about on my blog. Keep up your skin, your hair, your body, all that stuff. It's really important. It's good to do it just for yourself, but especially when you're trying to date up and date out. So just keep that in mind. Another one is just to diversify your social circle. And that's something else that I talked about on Twitter. And a lot of people got mad, but you really need to start getting comfortable in white spaces. And I know that makes a lot of people upset and uncomfortable. And I guess just with my upbringing and the way I've grown up and just the way I've lived my life, that's not ever really been an issue. And, a lot of people say, what about racism? What about this? What about that? I'm in the deep South, Texas, so I get it, but I just don't let those things hold me back. I mean, it is what you make it. So that to me is a really huge, important step, is just to get comfortable being in those type of places. You really just have to get used to it, get used to hanging out where those type of men are going to be. They're generally going to be in white spaces. You need to be able to be comfortable being around those type of people, because that's another thing that's really important. Even if you're not really trying to date out, let's say you're trying to maybe get a wealthy black man. A wealthy black man is going to be in white spaces. Wealthy people go where the money is. So, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, however your perspective is, it's probably going to be a white space. And when you're dealing with wealthy men, they don't have time to coddle you and babysit you. You're all, oh, if there are going to be other black people there, oh, what about this? What about that? And you're in the corner, scared or don't want to get out of the car or just whatever. They don't have time for that. They need a woman that can be on their arm, that can compliment them, that can carry a conversation, that can be graceful and poised in these environments. That's just really important. So if that's an issue that you have, you definitely need to work on it. Another thing is, like this kind of fits in with what I was saying before. You want to get like that struggle out of your energy. That constant like, oh, racism, colorism, this person's trying to hold me down and hold me back. Men they don't want to be around that all the time. Even if we're not talking about men, but just in general. And I understand, I'm not saying to pretend like it's not a thing and it doesn't happen and it doesn't exist, but just to constantly have that in your energy all the time, and that's all you talk about. And, go on Twitter and somebody's whole feed is this dedicated to colorism, dark skin this and light skin that. They don't want to deal with that. It's too much. Just let it go. Stop. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I really don't think a lot of people understand how much that just affects other areas of their life, and just especially like their dating and romantic prospects. So it's just something to consider. I mean, do what you do what you feel, but I'm just the messenger. Another one is, be really mindful of your friends, of your social circle. If you're friends with a lot of closed-minded, negative, women that don't really have good manners, that are, nasty and rude, and those kinds of things. Those are really things that you should consider, because as you're trying to date up, those men just they don't want to be associated with that. They don't. They want to be associated with the woman that's classy, that knows how to carry herself, that because you are who you hang around. So it's going to be hard for somebody to believe that you're this kind, gentle, feminine woman, but then your friends are loud and nasty and vile, and you go on their social media pages and they're always fighting with somebody, and just people look at that. They do, and they judge you based on that, just like an employer would. Think about like people that when you're trying to get a job, a lot of times you lock down or deactivate your social media. So it's the same things apply with romance. So that's definitely something that you should consider when you're trying to date out. Another point that I know a lot of people talk about, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up, is being feminine. That's a big one. A lot of people get upset with this. They get tired of hearing this, but it matters. When you're trying to date up and date out, these kind of men, they don't want a mom. They don't need somebody telling them what to do. They don't need somebody trying to compete with them and be more educated than them and smarter than them. And that's not what you're there for. They don't need you there for that. They need you to be a soft, feminine woman that compliments them, not competes with them. So I talk about this on Twitter. It makes a lot of people upset, but it matters. So that's a huge one to keep in mind. I will probably make a whole video just on this point, because I think it'd be helpful. Even though I know there's tons of videos and tons of people that have made videos on being feminine, but I'd like to put my own little spin on it. Another one is learning how to flirt. I notice a lot of women don't know how to flirt, and I will probably try to make a video on just that. One of the big ones that I talk about a lot, especially when I talk about it on Instagram Live, is the fact that a big one is when you go out, not being buried in your phone and not having the resting bitch face. What about any of that is inviting? Why would a man see that and be like, oh, let me go over there and disturb her and ask her for her number and start a conversation? He's not. So that's a big one. So really be mindful of just your face. Are you smiling? Are you scowling? I obviously can't scowl because I've got a lot of Botox in my forehead. But that's just a really, really big one. Another one is learning how to be friends with his friends or men like him. That's a really huge one, because rich men or, white men, they want a woman that will seamlessly fit into their life. That kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about being comfortable in white spaces. That's a big one. So learn how to be friends with his friends, carry on conversations, because those are the guys that'll be like, I really like you with her. I really, oh, you should invite her to come. She's fun. That kind of thing. That really will help you. So keep that in mind. Another one of my favorites, is being calculating. And this is a tip that I learned from my wealthy white and Asian women that taught me all my game. I'm going to make a video about all the game that I learned from my rich white and Asian ladies. Being calculating is a huge one. It's really important to have a goal if you're trying to get that type of man or a specific kind of man. And then, you kind of want to devise a plan to lock that down. I know that sounds really manipulative and bad, but this is what they do. They don't just leave things to chance. Oh, I'll just sit at my house and hopefully the UPS man will deliver him to my door. They don't do that. They go for what they want. They plan, they scheme, they devise, how can I get next to him? If he's a lawyer, they're figuring out how they can be a law clerk. If he's a doctor, they're figuring out how his schedule, so they can just so happen to be walking through the hall when he's going to be coming through, and they look their best and they drop something and he speaks to them, or just whatever. That's what they do. They don't leave it to chance. They don't play around. They don't hope and wish and pray about it. They go out and get it. So that's a major one. Another one is your online dating strategy. And as we know, I curate profiles, and I will make a video. I made some tweets. I'll make a video on just some little tips that I'd like to give people that maybe can't afford a session with me, just to get started. But a huge strategy, well, not huge, but just like a little tip, when you're curating your pictures and you would like to date out and be attracted to white guys, a really cool tip that I've learned is maybe just put one group photo of you hanging out with white people. that kind of signals like, oh, hey, she has, you know, friends of other races and she's comfortable hanging out with them, right? Diversify your social circle. They see that, they're more likely to message you or, you know, like your picture, whatever app you're on, however they do it, send you a kiss or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Another one, I said, oh, go where they go. That's huge. And you know, you just also want to really make sure to position yourself where these people are. And I talked about this a lot on Twitter this summer. Men are more likely to date women that are closest to them, proximity wise. So if you're in their neighborhood, if you go where they go, the same grocery stores, the same gyms, the same nail salon, I mean, whatever. Like for me, for example, I go to the grocery store, the gym, the cleaners, and the nail salon, all in the on the wealthy side of town. I get in my car, I drive 20 minutes to the other side of town, to the wealthy side of town. That way I'm in the area with these people, so you have more of a chance to run into them, to meet them, to date them than you would if you stayed where you are. So just that's something to keep in mind. And depending on how savage you are, you can always move to that side of town. Maybe you won't live in the same house, same type of home, but a nice apartment or a nice whatever, depending on how hard you want to go with it. But that's just really something to keep in mind because those men date who they are around. So if you're around, you have better chances to date them. So those are just some little tips that I could think of off the top of my head. But if you can think of some things or you want to ask me questions, you can always leave me a comment and I will answer them. Let me know what you think of this video and if you want me to make more like these or if you have some video suggestions.